to do a couple thank yous. First one, my wife, again. Thanks for the support going through this. Last year she was just my wife. This year she happens to be a parent on the team too, so it was kind of exciting after each game to come home and have to listen to the parent. And how things should be done. That's pretty cool, but no, thank you very much for the support and all that. I want to thank the board, Dan Batten, Scott Schrager, Monique Vandestieg, Megan Howie, Lisa Perleski, as well as the parents who make each event and game special and run smoothly. That's much appreciated from our end, from the staff, so I thank you very much for that. It doesn't go unnoticed. I'm going to get, I have one player that contacted me and said they need to go to a SAT thing, so we're going to get through some things pretty quick and then we're going to get him out of here. I'm supposed to, from the athletic department, I'm supposed to let him go be on time. What I'm told to do. So it's, we're going to go through a little bit different than what we did last year. The first thing, our team this year, 17th, 7-1. Year two is pretty cool. Pretty cool. This year, every year we try to get better. We try to instill some new things, but coming into this season, there was quite a bit of excitement. The dynamics of the team were shifting. Just how much of a shift, we really didn't know. So, bear with me a little bit here. Parents, does anybody remember the movie Grease? The music. I'm a huge fan of that movie. Now there's a scene in there where Danny and the gang, they got this car they've been driving around for a little while, right? And then they got, they're going to challenge that Thunder Road. So they do this little singing thing in there about Grease Lightning, you know, they got. So as the summer's going on, we got the coaches and we're seeing these 10 new players that are added to the team and what they're going to bring here and the different parts of it, and the different deal, and that's kind of how we felt. I kind of saw that as we were out there singing, like, yeah, this is what we're going to be taking to Thunder Road. So what we saw and envisioned was a little bit different than where we ended up with, right? What they saw in that car, you know, the nice rear hood and all that stuff, wasn't really what they took to Thunder Road to go out there and do what they needed to do. It was close, but that's it's kind of how we felt going into the year. We had 12 players returning this past season. We had 10 new players that we were adding to the mix. Our job was to try and make the team work as a unit where each individual was sure enough in their own abilities, where they could praise the abilities of others. That is when we're truly getting to where we want to be as a team. And I think we were making strides towards that. Our returning group was still learning about my approach and our approach from the coaching staff and to each game and in the practice. And then we had to add 10 new players that had their own experiences and their own backgrounds and where they were coming from. I said it early on that we had a lot of skill and depth, but we were inexperienced and immature in our game. Now when I say immaturity, it's not like what most of us parents are thinking about with our kids. When I talk about immaturity in the game, we're looking at 51 minutes of that game, and we're trying to be as focused and mature at every minute of that game, no matter what that's going to be bringing to us. Minute 17 may bring us something that can give us momentum or take away a momentum, or we have an opportunity to gain momentum. Could be the same thing in 19 and 20 to 48 and 49. Our job was to stay even keel and focused and mature enough to understand what those momentum swings can bring you throughout the game. We struggled with that a little bit this year, but I firmly believe that as we talked about this as a group, that these kids or these players, these men over here, they understand what we're trying to get to, what we're trying to build in here. And our message from the beginning has been pretty simple, and it's been to be better. That's everywhere that you're looking or walking into the room and getting out of the room, it's being better each day. Find something in your game to get better at each day. If someone asks you how you're doing today, you say, I'm doing better than I was yesterday. Bless you. We won some games that we probably shouldn't have won. We lost some games that we probably should have won. There were games that we won based on talent alone, and there were games that we lost that the puck just wasn't bouncing the way we had hoped. We had some injuries and we had some sicknesses. We had a time during January where we really needed to get our swagger back. We seemed to be going off of our path. And we felt we fought through that as a group. Our group was pretty resilient in so many ways. We had a solid leadership that understood where we were and what we needed to happen to get back on track. And we had players who stepped up admirably at different times during the season, all for the good of the team. See, what we started out last year and into this year is what we're trying to build here is a culture of commitment from our players into the whole program. Not just interest into the program, but commitment into the program. Each player plays a significant role in that vision, and each player should take that role seriously. Each player plays a significant role in the vision, and each one of you should take it seriously. Okay? In the end, I believe that we did get better. I believe our players did learn, and above all, I believe we had fun while we did it. Ultimately, the main goal, and it's probably on the last on my list, that every time we go on the ice for a game, I always tell them to have fun. Because basically, if it's not fun, then we need to find something else that can make it fun, or do something else that's fun. I hope that each player can say that they did have fun. So, with that, we got some individual certificates, some letters that go about with this. We're going to start with our Zealand boys. Our Zealand boys. We have 4 of them this year. We had 4 of them this year. Greatest snowboarder. This player, Zealand, he, by the way, when we hand out some of these, we may have some background awards, some funny awards that we thought were really cool. This player, he gets the Sean White Award. And he gets the Driver's Award. Andrew Nyheiser. So this player, first year with us from Zealand, he transferred in from another one of the schools on the west side. Just a pleasure to work with. He's a strong skater. I mean, we went through all this deal. When he brought to the team, he was quiet. He always did was say, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach. Just a pleasure to deal with. I think he's related to the athletic director because I got a full bag of things. His name is Nathan Worley. Another player from the Zealand area. This player, 2 years with us. He's grown on us just because we love his attitude, we love his work ethic, we love what he brings to the table. Every practice, every game, the kid just never stops working. He brings it there. Mr. Austin Howie.
No matter what happens, he's always smiling.
That's a true statement.
I thought maybe they gave him a cup as a gag gift.
Yeah, right.
He won this award last year, and he wins the award again this year, the best hair in the league. By far. It's all the fun, my friend. It's all the fun. This player here, I couldn't tell you how much our coaching staff appreciates this kid. Everything that he brings to the table, which you all see on Friday and Saturday nights, the occasional Wednesday night of how much he gets into people's crawl and gets them upset and pisses them off and just does what he does. He does that on Mondays, Tuesdays. And I'm telling you, he he brings the intensity into practices. You don't have to question it because he's going to play the same way that he does on Friday and Saturday and occasional Wednesday, on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We've watched this kid have battles with every one of these players. Every one of them. And sometimes it was a little over the line, sometimes it was a little soft, but it made us better. It made us better. And that is why the kid became our captain this year for what he brought. And then he also gets this other award and everything from Zeeland High School. But that's Clayton Bogey.
Usually when a guy gets logged on the ice, we'll take a number and get the guy back better. He took 5 of
All right, this next player came to us from this first year with us, and I tell you, I can sit here and talk all day long about the skills that this kid plays with, that he brings to the table. There's no doubt that he can skate. There's no doubt that he can pass, and there's no doubt that he can score goals. And I think what kind of impressed me towards the end, that he had a little bit of toughness to him, and the way that he still continued to compete and continue to play with an injury. You go through these deals as much of hockey that I've been around and dealing with as coaching and playing, and there's a certain toughness that comes with players, and this is something that I learned to appreciate from these players as it goes. So this kid, he gets the little deal in here, and I'm kind of putting this all together, and we'll get back to these as we go. But he's also getting an award for our top offensive player. The top offensive player, and I'll get into this real quick with our awards. I wrote down criteria last year when we started this, and these awards are sitting inside of our dressing room, and you walk right in, there's the sticks sitting on the wall, and the side next to the flag, I put up all the awards in there, and we're coming up with a name for this wall, either a wall to claim or something different than the Wall of Fame or a deal, but we're developing that as we go. The award that he won, top offensive player, is designed to go to the most qualified offensive player, not necessarily the top point getter, but to a player that has shown the ability to provide offense in a number of ways. In 5-on-5, shorthanded, power play, plus minus. A player that has a positive effect on the scoreboard for our team. Throughout the season, I've watched this player in power play situations, run the power play from the back end for a minute and a half, minute 45 at times when he was asked. I've watched him score goals from there. I've watched this player in shorthanded situations take control of the shorthanded deal and grab control of the puck and take it down the ice and score big shorthanded goals. I've watched a player in 5-on-5 situations control the puck, control the pace of the game, the mood of the game, and go down and score some goals in some different areas. And it's to me, it's pretty impressive that you get a player that has that much offensive ability from the back end. And I respect the kid a whole lot for what he brought towards the end of the year with the injury there. We kept him quiet there, but with those deals, as a defenseman, he had 20 goals, 14 assists. 20 goals and 14 assists. That's Anthony Malika. He gets his the top offensive award. This little pin from Genesis. And he's also all conference. Don't want to get your smart.
Give it to the next one.
All right, so now Anthony's going to leave us whenever he has to leave there, that's fine. So now we're going to get back to just this part of the program. Okay? This player came to us from a different city, probably something we're not too many fans of in here, this group here, but I got numerous texts last Saturday night, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I got numerous texts from all over the place telling me that somebody had lost. So this player came from that group. For whatever reason, I'm very happy that he came over here. He has a lot of ability, great kid. He's a quiet kid, but that's no Sheldon. Here's a, this kid right here, he's, I don't know, he's 16 or 17 years old, and he's been through more crap than I think most people at 45 or 60. No pun intended. Through the past 8 to 10 months, and we've had many conversations in person and on through text, see how he was doing and all this stuff. But he was always on our mind what he was going through. We needed him to get better. I believe he has one more surgery left to go. We hook all the plumbing up. Next week, and then we come back solid, right? All right, this player's with us in the second year. He, great kid, a lot of offensive ability to him. He's learning as he goes. He's got 2 more years to go with us, and he's on a little bit of a journey. And I hope that we continue that journey to get to where he wants to go through our conversations. But that's Jackson Terpstra. So it seems to go, I've been doing this for 2 years, and it seems that every year I seem to have a little battle of minds that goes on. And last year it worked out. And again this year it worked out for the best. This kid has he has a lot of ability, and sometimes I just don't think that he realizes how much ability that he has, and I don't think he gives himself that much credit for what he can do and what he can accomplish out there. So we battled a little bit, and he ate some sandwiches that he didn't like. But, towards the end of the year, I think he picked it up, and he started appreciating what he can do and what he's about. So that's Ethan Vandestein. So each one of these deals, I am sharing you a little insight. I know you all entrust it with your kids throughout the week, and we show up on Friday and Saturday, and it's fun because you all sit there throughout the week and you hear from your kids and all that stuff, and you come on Friday and Saturday and you're like the best coaches that has ever happened. Like watching Michigan or Michigan State and why Harbaugh didn't do that or why Izzo did that or all that stuff. So this kid here, I was getting to is I'm just sharing some insight. with each one of these kids in our relationship. This kid here, I think, has a lot of upside to him. I think, again, another one that just needs to believe me when I tell him what his skill set is as it goes down. Good kid, but I think he just needs to believe me a little bit. Brandon Belton. This fellow's second year with us. Got put into one of 3 people that got put into a not an issue or predicament, but just one of 3 people that probably didn't see what was going down, the way it went down. But I applaud all 3 of these people that got into that position, and they answered the bell when they were asked upon, and they did the best that they possibly could whenever they were given the opportunity. So this junior goalie, Kate Elliott. Here's a fella that he's a junior, he'll be a senior next year, I believe so. Here's a fella like certain kids I talk throughout the season, or they seek me out, or they search me out, and conversations about what we can do for the following year and what goes on. This is a kid I put a challenge to, not directly, it was kind of indirectly through his dad. And his dad said, you know what, we're going to go camping this weekend, and I'm going to have that conversation with him. And I think when we got back from that deal, this kid, he showed up and he started getting outside of his comfort zone and getting outside of his comfort box of what, skating up and down. And he started doing some things with his skills that I think kind of surprised him in times, but didn't really surprise us because we saw it in there. Now we're just working towards that consistency. Game in and game out, and that's Mr. Xander Hall. Another player that I challenged last season, or last summer before the season, that I challenged. And just he answered the bell and then some. And I'm proud of everything that he did and what he's accomplished this year. And that's Tage.
Ball ahead.
This fellow, one of our 10 new players. Every time you get somebody that comes into the deal, you want to learn about him, you want to know about him. And this kid, he shows up. He's smiling every time he shows up. Says hello every time he walks through the door, so he puts a smile on your face. When he leaves, he smiles and says hello or say goodbye. So he always a great attitude. What he brought to our team this year, and we'll probably go over a little bit more later on. But what he brought to our team, a calmness, a sense of leadership, and I kind of look at it as an old soul type kid because. For him being only a sophomore, and what I saw that he brought to our group in our dressing room, there was a reason why that our coaching staff unanimously wanted to make him assistant captain, and that's Nick Rassak. Again, one of our new players this year. He came in, well, just a new player that came in. He played some minutes with us. He brought a lot to us from on the back end. Not able to join us here tonight, but that's Mr. Alex Shalinsky. So you talk about paths and journeys that you all go on, and then you're thinking that you're on this right deal, and this is what's going to happen, and next thing you know, there's something that happens, and you're like, holy crap, what am I going to do now? And you're thrown into situations that, oh geez, how do I handle this, or how do I go about it? This player here, he, it wasn't his plan to come join our group this year. He was going to play midget A, get a lot of playing time and get ready for the following year. That team fell through, and for no viable option for him to go to after that, we stepped up with the staff and we brought him along with us. And he was our one of our three that we had in the net there. He came in, he worked hard. All I asked of him was to work hard and continue on with what I've seen since he was a mite, and what he brings to the arena and what he brings to the room. And he did that all season long. I was proud of him. Our staff was proud of him. Drew Bobolek. This player here, the last couple of years, he's flirted around. If he wanted to play Jenison, if he didn't want to play Jenison, where he's going. And we're kind of in a hard position because we really don't have tryouts until November. And last year was tough because I really didn't know who was coming in or who was going to be around. He went on to do his midget A deal. But what this kid brings to our table, I'll probably get into a little bit later. Foreshadowing, we're sitting there. But junior with us, great player, great kid, Jackson Bolthouse. This player I've known since he was, again, this year and this little, and it's kind of cool that you coach these kids for so long, and then all of a sudden you're in a different area, a different time, and you're able to coach the kid again. And he came in, he's played forward most of his hockey with me, coming up through the deal, and I've throughout the years I've given him opportunities to play defense, and all that stuff. And coming into this year, we needed defensemen, and I thought it would be a good deal for him and his skill set to get back on the D and let the game come to him, and he can kind of decide on when he wants to get involved and when he doesn't want to get involved. To get his, I guess, to get the experience underneath him, to get that confidence underneath him. That player is Trenton Cleveland. This fella here has been with us 2 years now. Again, a kid that shows up to every workout. He shows up to every skate. He's committed. He's committed to getting better. In our meeting there, I think we can figure out 2 things that they could sing. I think the next 2 years can just be fantastic for this kid. But that player is Michael Proleski. first year with us. I had a couple meetings with him throughout the year. I texted this kid more than anybody else on this group. And when I first met him, he said, "I heard you need a defenseman, so here I am." So I love the approach to the deal. I think he and the coaching staff, we learned a lot about each other this year. I think we got better throughout the year, and I'm glad that he's a part of the group. Troy, go for it. So, this guy here, I've known him for quite a while. On the ice, off the ice. In school, out of school. Suspended, not Which is kind of odd when you're the coach of the deal and your suspensions are coming in and your kid, you're like, which one of the best. They did a Halloween gift thing, or not Halloween, Christmas gift thing, and I thought his award was just fantastic. Just fantastic. He got a little seat warmer for Christmas. But in all seriousness, I treasure the opportunities that I'm able to spend with my boys. This one here is a defenseman. I've had a defense since he was that little, and he's battled with me on it. But I think it was probably the right decision there. That's my son Jack. This player here is a four-year varsity player. He's last year he was part of that older group that I got to know. This year he came in as one of only two seniors. The kid has a great sense of humor. You know, in the gym, in the dressing room, what he brings. Maybe in some instances, but I kind of appreciate that humor. So that player, he came in, again in his senior year, and he was one of three that was put in that position of we threw a third goalie at him, and he didn't bat an eye. And he just kind of looked at us and said, Coach, whatever's best for the team. I'm here. This is my senior year. I'm here to make this the best year that I've had so far. And according to our last meeting, I think we kind of did that for him. And that's Brett Backman.
Amy, where's my hug? Got more for me.
All right. So Continuing on with our deal here. Get those out of the way. Like I told you before, we did these, I started these awards last year. And then we had some nice plaques put up on the, in the dressing room, on the wall there. We're gonna go through those right now. This award, Best Team Player. And when we went through, and I'm gonna back up a little bit. I challenged these guys here next to me with all the stuff that we write down about each one of these awards. We want to make sure that the award that we're giving and the player that receives it fits in to each one of these things with this award. And sometimes you get nitpicky and going about, you know, this player did this or this player did that. But what we're trying to do is to stay as close to this as we possibly can. So when we go through this, listen out, because that's what really stands out in our mind for each one of these players. Best Team Player. This award is designed for the player that exemplifies true team attitude, constantly puts the team above their own personal goals, realizes that the team as a whole is much stronger than any one individual. They have a positive attitude when things are going not so well and when they are going well. This player may not be the best player in the team, but has an attitude as best for the team. This kid just impressed the hell out of us throughout the year. His good sense of humor. I'll tell a story a little bit later.